We've been talking about the Cam Johnson trade rumors with the Cavs over the last couple of days, and every time we've mentioned Cam Johnson, we have gotten a plethora of comments saying, what about Brandon Ingram? Now, we talked about Brandon Ingram at length as a potential target for the Cavs prior to the season, and here's a little update on Brandon Ingram for you. He's been out with an ankle injury since December 7th. He has not played in over a month. He's expected back sometime in the next 2-3 weeks. And New Orleans has basically said, if anyone wants him, take him. We will take anything we can get back for him. He is on an expiring contract. He wants a long-term extension. New Orleans is not willing to spend the long-term extension on Brandon Ingram, and he's basically just being dangled out there for whatever you can get. Mm-hmm. You still have to match the money, which plays a part in this, but you don't have to give up the assets and draft capital that you previously would have. So at an extreme discount, and that is simply just matching the Ingram money to make the deal work, would you guys be interested in a Brandon Ingram to Cleveland kind of move?
Jason?
Mike and I had this discussion the other day. And Mike, do you have the names of what makes the money match?
Yes.
So
if you want
it's
the
a
names
lot.
To make this work, it's literally the perfect match money-wise. It's LeVert, Okoro, Niang for Ingram. That's the deal.
Would they actually be able to knock out that $1 million also to get below the apron? Aren't they like $1 million over the apron?
They're $2 million into the tax ish. $2 million ish into the tax.
Would that be able to knock that down too, or no? I guess I shouldn't worry about that.
It's probably an exact match, right?
It's within $500,000, so it wouldn't get him under anything.
So you said Niang, Okoro, and
LeVert for Ingram.
I personally would rather have Brandon Ingram than any of those three players.
Sure. Yeah, but all three of them together, you don't care.
Fine, I don't care.
Wow.
Because you're not playing.
Two of those three are not going to play in the playoffs anyway.
No, they won't. More than likely. So give me the top end talent. Here's the problem: here's where Mike and I disagree. I don't know where Mike falls on this now. Initially, we disagreed on this. Mike said, I want him as a rental. I'm not re-signing him. I said, I'm only doing it if I re-sign him because you've got Okoro for the next however many years. You've got Niang for next year. LeVert he's a free agent. But if you make that trade and you don't re-sign Brandon Ingram, all you have is the mid-level to try and sign guys next year. It would
hurts you down the road.
I would make that trade only if you can re-sign Ingram. But if you re-sign him, particularly the type of money he's looking for, I don't see how you avoid being a second apron team next year.
I don't either.
Which really handcuffs you.
And Mike, someone's going to pay him, right?
I don't think he's going to get the $50 million he's looking for, but someone's going to give him something, yes.
How old is he?
Not nearly as old as you think. Ingram is, I'll get you his exact
mid-20s?
birthday. Yeah, I think he's 27.
And I would have him almost 30.
Hasn't he been hurt every year?
He's 27.
Damn.
Yeah, he's injury prone.
He's definitely injury prone.
You got to get
and that scares me.
Sure. Yeah. But like if you're looking at just talent for talent, I'd rather have Brandon Ingram than Isaac Okoro for sure.
Of course.
How do you see him fitting in with what they would have?
It's not a perfect fit.
It's not exactly what they're looking for.
How tall is he?
Tall.
He's tall.
6'10".
He's tall.
Oh, he's 6'10".
6'9", 6'10".
So why is he not a perfect fit? Just because he needs the ball a lot?
Well, he's not. His game, in my view, doesn't equate to, like, if you're going to list the skill set that the player that the Cavs are most in need of, I don't think he's that.
Yeah, he's I don't want to say ball stopper, but he is an isolation guy that likes to have the ball in his hands, and he likes to dribble and control as opposed to the free-flowing offense the Cavs have.
Yep.
Has he ever been on a winning team?
Not really.
No?
He was drafted by the Lakers when they were terrible. The Pelicans have been terrible.
I mean, the information we don't have, and maybe Mike or Jason have some of this information, is what kind of guy, what kind of teammate is he? Is he willing to, adjust his game and how tough that would be? I mean, why don't you answer that question first?
I mean, it's hard to say. Some guys who all they've known is a losing culture.
Yeah.
You put them in a winning culture, and they start playing winning basketball because they've got winning people around them.
Right.
I mean, Kyrie was like that. Kyrie was in a terrible culture when when they were, and then, throughout his career has progressed, he's turned into more of a winning player. So, but it's impossible. I don't know how you
know that.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know how you really know that until you put him in that spot.
I'll say this. It seems to us that the Cavs are going to be a really good team for the next bunch of years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But you never know. Let's say they don't make a trade here at the deadline, which they might not because they don't have a ton to give up. And let's say they lose in the conference finals. and then the next bunch of years, Donovan gets hurt or Mobley gets hurt, and they never really get back. We might say, you know what, they should have just gone for it then.
Yeah.
Even though we thought they had all these young players. And maybe it won't go down that way, but Brandon Ingram.
There's also a scenario where they do go for it and it blows up.
Of course.
So
you never know.
No,
it's
the great unknown.
Yes. I mean, it seems like Cam Johnson would be a much better fit. He's a younger
I would
player.
rather have Cam Johnson than Brandon Ingram.
But
I agree. I think he's more the fit that the Cavs are looking for.
It doesn't seem realistic that they could get Cam Johnson, whereas Brandon Ingram is realistic. Brandon Ingram, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike or Jason, is probably the best possible player they could get. They could actually get. And so if that's the case, I don't think I would do it today. I'd maybe wait till trade deadline day and see if I can get somebody better.
I haven't said. I actually just thought of this.
Yeah.
What if you call Utah and try and get Lauri Markkanen back?
Oh my God!
No, they can't trade him this year.
Why?
Because he signed the day he signed his extension. He signed it. I'll look up the exact verbiage.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because remember he was in all these trade rumors, and part of the reason he signed the deal on the day is because he said, "I want to be in Utah."
It was past the
yes.
deadline.
Because he was being rumored
I didn't realize that.
He was being rumored to Golden State. And he was like, I want to put an end to this. I'm not signing my contract in this first window. I'm signing it on this day because then that protects me from actually being
I don't remember that.
He'd be the
This
perfect
season.
guy.
I didn't realize that.
I think he'd be the perfect fit.
Because, I didn't realize that he was ineligible to be traded this year.
If it's the day of the trade deadline and the Cavs can't get Cam Johnson or another guy who would be younger and maybe fit in more, in the end, Brandon Ingram, for 3 role players, he's an all-star caliber player.
If he's healthy, if his mindset's right.
So I'd wait till the last minute on it.
There's risk involved.
Of course.
I would rather Brandon Ingram than any of those 3 players. That's the best way I can answer that.
Because he's the best player in a vacuum.
But I remember talking to Griff in the previous era when they got Mozgov, and there were better players that he could go get over Timo. But he's like, we don't need another star. We got plenty of guys who need the ball. And he said, we need a guy who can fill space, eat rebounds, and fits on the cap and fits in the locker room.
Right.
And he was right. Like I thought it doesn't matter. I thought they way overpaid for Mozgov at the time. But his point was they didn't need another star. They just needed somebody to fill the role.
That may be the case.
And that may be why you shy away from a Brandon Ingram, which I don't even know if you would call him a star necessarily. But certainly he's a bigger name than the 3 guys that you've got on this team. But do they fill the role better?
Would you do it, Mike?
I'd think about it. I'd want to see all my options. The pros of Ingram, specifically with this team, is come playoff time when defense ramps up. You need some guys who go one-on-one and get you a bucket, especially on the second unit if you don't have Darius and Donovan on the court together. And Brandon Ingram has proven
he can do that.
He can go do that.
Yeah.
I do think he's a clunky fit, and this is why I was anti-Ingram before the season. I think he's a clunky fit with the core. Like, he wants the ball. He wants the ball in the high post, and he wants you to spread out, and he wants to be the initiator. He doesn't shoot corner threes. You want to know corner threes he's taken this year?
How many?
19 games. He's taken 114 threes on the season. He's averaged about 7 a game. He's taken 11 in the corner. He averages 0.6 a game in the corner.
So he doesn't like that spot.
He does not like just standing in the corner, which, talk about Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson, the 93rd percentile in the NBA in corner threes this season.
But again, it's not, Mike.
I'm just saying. I'm saying why he's not necessarily the perfect fit.
Does anybody really think the Cavs can get Cam Johnson? How is that possible?
I would not rule it out.
But why? There's got to be teams that have more to offer, doesn't there?
Yeah, but I'm just like, Joe wrote the story a few days ago, and I've talked to Joe, and I know who Joe was talking to.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you I wouldn't rule it out.
Okay, good.
There must be some smoke.
Well, then, but I'm saying, Mike, if it
do
comes
I think
down
it's likely? No.
Do
I think it's possible? I'm not going to rule it out.
The bottom line is, if it comes down, let's say we're on the trade deadline day, and the Cam Johnson ship has sailed, wouldn't you make the move?
I'm a notorious Brandon Ingram hater, so I wouldn't. But I totally understand anyone who would want to.
Why do you hate him?
I just don't like his game.
You don't?
I don't like a high-usage, mid-range shooter who's always hurt.
I think
you have to hit your bandwagon to him because
that's true. The often injured thing, and he's injured again now.
And the other thing that I worry about, and I don't know what his reputation is.
If someone, sorry to cut you off, Jay.
That's okay.
If someone wanted to make that deal, I 100% understand the reasons why you'd want to make it. I just don't particularly like his game.
One of my concerns would be what it does to the chemistry of the team. Because right now everybody is selfless. They're all looking to make the extra pass because they know when they don't have the ball in their hands, the extra pass might find them. When you put somebody in there that is another ball-dominant player, I don't know what disruption that brings to the offense.
I would think the Cavs would want to talk to him before they'd make any kind of trade like that. I don't know if that's possible.
Well, the one thing about it, obviously, with these two organizations, the two guys running them are very close.
And they've made trades.
With Griff and Kobe. Yeah. And, Griff and Kobe Griff officiated Kobe's wedding. So these guys are really tight. So I think that they would be straight with each other.
Yeah.
I think the Cavs will have all the information that they would need in a Brandon Ingram type situation. Probably more so than it's a really unique situation between those two teams.
If the Cavs end up making that trade, we're not coming on here saying what a stupid trade.
No, of course not.
No.
I do think whatever move they make, they need to try and address the tax issue, one way or another.
Right.
So,
little teaser for next week because we got to do super chats to wrap it up. I'm just whipping together some fun trades for the Cavs. Some are more realistic. Some go in the way crazy. They will never happen, but I like trade machines, so I decided
it'd be fun to imagine what if.
Yeah, one of them, I'm just telling you right now, I'm going to tell them before I put the trade up, this would never happen. This is just for fun, and people are going to get so mad at me for this. I already know it's going to happen, but we're going to have some fun with it.